Happy Wednesday and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. We are going to talk about a very boring compared to last week's edition of free agency. But I'll tell you who's never boring, who's always spot on because he is the man of the hour and the man with the power. Jerry Sinclair, what's up, buddy?
What a magnificent introduction. I appreciate that. Most people would actually say I'm super boring, especially if you are on any form of social media that I'm on today. Today being the Ides of March, the assassination of Julius Caesar. So I've gone on a few diatribes about that. But how the hell are you? You have not been stabbed 23 times, so you're doing better than Caesar did. That's good to see.
Well, then we're on a hell of a run of important days in a row here in the month of March because you had Pi Day on 3/14. Apparently, 3/15 is the Ides of March, tied back to Caesar. Tomorrow's 3/16. That's Stone Cold Day.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, 3/17, St. Patrick's Day. So we're on a hell of a run. I wish the NFL was up to a hell of a run, but you know what's on a hell of a run, Jerry?
What's that?
YouTube. YouTube.com/Dynasty WarZone. A lot of good stuff going on over there, man. A lot of shows up early, extra, bonus. That startup show we did about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. Still haven't used it, not converted it to a podcast. You should really go over to YouTube, youtube.com. When you get there, search Dynasty WarZone. Bam. It was on a Sunday night, maybe the last Sunday of February.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Feel right? But see, you would have never missed it. Maybe you're a podcast consumer, and we really appreciate that. But maybe you want to go in and get some startup information. It's in there, Jerry.
It is.
And how about a rating? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I think it was pretty damn good myself.
It was off the cuff,
an
unscripted show, and we got a lot of positive feedback. So head over to YouTube, search Dynasty WarZone, find a video, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe. That's the number one way to help the show, along with reviews on iTunes. We haven't asked for those in a while. You can also hit us on Spotify, Jerry. Can we get to 300 combined? Cool. We're like at 260.
Come on, I can't get 40 more.
I mean, I think we can, like a little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. Well, Jerry, let's jump into this. We won't beleaguer the point. We'll make this a quick intro. I don't know how long this show will be because, unfortunately, I thought, okay, well, we recorded last Sunday. We did what would you call last Sunday? Like a free agency preview? No, I take that back. That was our combine review show.
Yep.
And we recorded that on Sunday. What would that have been? That would have been like Sunday the 6th, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. And then all of a sudden, the world goes crazy. So me and friend of the show, former co-host John Sheps, and I hit a lot of that information on Sunday, which was a bonus podcast on Monday. But Jerry is here, the actual co-host of the show, and gets Jerry. Here's what I thought of free agency through the first 2 days, the legal tampering days. Are you ready for what I thought?
Yep.
Boring.
Brother, you ain't wrong.
Boring. I mean, like literally, like because like maybe we were spoiled 2 years ago when you had the DeAndre Hopkins trade and you had all this news, but I'm constantly refreshing Shefty and Ian Rappaport's Twitter feeds to see if anything good, and it's you had like Shardarius West sign with the Kansas City Chiefs. You had a lot of defensive players, some good defensive moves, but so far, man, it's not been a lot. We do not have a good person, bad tweet, unless there's someone you just want to tee off on.
No, I got nothing really.
Well, let's get into some quarterback news.
Okay.
All right. Captain Kirk, in your division, signed a 1-year extension. Now, the interesting part of this is not only does he sign an extension, but my man has a no-trade clause. So he cannot be dealt. And we're not going to get into Deshaun Watson. That's why this is part 1 of 2 on the free agent fallout. But we've seen how Deshaun Watson has wielded that as a weapon during this whole process. So what were your thoughts when you saw Captain Kirk got paid again and Dynasty fallout?
I mean, I'm not a Minnesota Vikings fan, so I understand the frustration from their part because Kirk Cousins is pretty good. But Kirk Cousins will also lose you games that he should not be losing you. I mean, he did it in college. I had season tickets when he was the Spartans quarterback, and he did it then too. But as a dynasty player, I was thrilled to see it. You know how many shares of Justin Jefferson I have? A stupendous amount. And when you have somebody that's an elite asset and a cornerstone of your franchise, you want stability. Kirk Cousins clearly loves Justin Jefferson, and he targets him a ton, and he's conducive to him continuing to be an elite quarterback, or an elite wide receiver, excuse me. How could you not be happy about it? So I was excited from that aspect.
You know, and it's not quite rookie season. I want to remind everybody that Dallas will be here on Friday with a bonus edition of, I guess it's not a bonus. The bonus show was the show John and I did on Monday, and we booted Dallas out of his normal time slot. He'll be here on Friday with extra rookie dynasty IDP goodness. But I thought this was a huge win for Justin Jefferson. And for Kirk Cousins, it was either on ESPN or Fox News. The guy has played every contract for like the last 7 years, fully guaranteed, and has made like $230 million. But from a dynasty standpoint, good friend of the show, Tyler Gunther from the Dynasty Happy Hour, was tweeting about Kirk Cousins doesn't get enough respect. And I've got twofold. So from a dynasty standpoint, you have no business drafting, especially as a contender in a superflex. You have no business spending the 108 on a quarterback, or worse, the 108 on a quarterback if you could go out and get Kirk Cousins. I mean, the guy's going to be there for 2 years. And by that point, I think he'll be 35. He'll probably get another deal, probably somewhere else.
Probably.
I mean, he's as safe as a QB2 with QB1 upside. QB2 cost at QB1 upside, as you'll find in Dynasty. You know I love Kirk Cousins.
I do too. I mean, you look at him, he's a perennial, like, 30-some touchdown guy, like 12 interceptions, over 4,000 yards. Like, he's about as safe as you really want. Like, there's going to be games where it's ugly, and it's going to be on prime time, so everyone's going to laugh at you that you had to play him. If 14 out of the 17 weeks you're going to play, Kirk Cousins is going to be a helpful asset to have on your team. The hate has gone too far, Randall.
And it helps Irv Smith, who should be back from injury. Should help Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen, definitely a contender's piece. He's the kind of guy that, like, for a late second, early third, I'm going to try to buy. Not based solely on this news, but if you're a contender, like if you finished in the 109 to 112 range from a rookie standpoint, you finished in the final four, and you're still, in decent shape, there's worse things you can do. And this is good news. I mean, it means Adam Thielen is going to get at least one more season with Captain Kirk. So I don't hate this news at all for him.
Nope.
Anything else on Captain Kirk?
No, I was happy to see it. I was actually a little nervous that he wasn't going to be there, and I was not going to be happy about all those Justin Jefferson shares I have.
Yeah, I don't want him to be in a position of my Colts, because as a Colts fan,
right,
we have nobody. We have Sam Ehlinger currently.
And you're excited about Michael Pittman, but can you be that excited about Michael Pittman with
nobody
and shoe clerks? Yeah,
and until we find out. But the guy that I wanted the Colts to get went to Pittsburgh.
He did.
My man Mitch.
Let me tell you,
Trubisky.
I died laughing when I read it. Not because Mitchell Trubisky got signed and laugh at Mitch Trubisky, because I knew you were so effing happy when you saw it. Because you've been talking, go after Mitch Trubisky, throw a third, throw some dirt, just get the guy. He's probably, everything I'm hearing, he's going to end up in a spot. And then he ends up in effing Pittsburgh with the talent there, a great organization, probably the premier head coach in the league. I mean, Bill Belichick's there, but Mike Tomlin is top 2, top 3. So, I mean, that also rains on the parade of the rookie quarterback class, because that's one of the premier spots that has just been thrown out the window, because I I can't imagine they draft one. So Mitchell Trubisky, Randall, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, for me, it's like this is the NFL telling you things. Teams, that need quarterback, the Houston Texans keeping Davis Mills, the Detroit Lions keeping Jared Goff, the Steelers going out and getting a Mitch Trubisky. It just tells you what the NFL thinks of this draft class. And from a dynasty standpoint, I'm telling you, don't waste those picks. If you want to reach on those athletic guys with wheels, fine, good luck. Look at the NFL draft capital. You make that decision then. But for me, for my man Mitch, you kidding me? For a guy who's got like a 60-some-odd% Mitch Trubisky saturation point in dynasty leagues and Superflex, I couldn't have had a better Monday from a dynasty standpoint. And in one of my bigger leagues, the Ultimate Dynasty Podcasters League, I literally lost Tom Brady to retirement. I was down to Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold, and Mitch Trubisky. As of Saturday, that wasn't a great QB room.
No.
On Tuesday, I feel great.
Yeah.
This is a team I finished 12-1, 13-1 in last year. I get Brady back for another year, but I also get Mitch Trubisky. And there's some people already, pawing around, asking questions. Hey, is Mitch available?
Of course they are.
Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? But I'm going to kick this back to you. What are your thoughts for the weapons in Pittsburgh? Most importantly, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Pat Freiermuth, and Najee Harris.
I think it's yet to be seen, unfortunately, but I don't think it's harmful because Ben Roethlisberger was simply not even serviceable. So is he going to be exponentially worse than that? No, I don't think he is. And also, I just want to say that, I'm not promoting Mitchell Trubisky like he's going to be some dynasty world beater, but his value skyrocketed, for lack of a better phrase. He went from he's worth a first. I don't think that's crazy to say. Do you think it really hurts anybody? I don't. I think everybody is about chalk where they should be. I think there's going to be games when Trubisky is bad and Najee Harris will get a ton of work. But then, this is the same quarterback that got Matt Nagy to the playoffs. He had a winning record with Matt Nagy as the head coach. And we've seen Justin Fields, get all of the love and the hype for the prospect that he is. He couldn't do anything with Matt Nagy. So the guy's not a world beater, but I'm happy for him. I'm glad he gets a shot. And it's one of those things. We were just on the GOAT District podcast, and Dan Williamson talked about a savvy dynasty player finds these sorts of moves for I can't remember exactly what he called it, but like the outsiders guys, like the guys that people don't really want and you can profit off of them. Mitchell Trubisky is exactly that. It worked out perfectly. He was your man's. What do you think? You think everybody's still going to be in good shape?
I think Chase Claypool is the one who takes the biggest hit. Mitch does not have a great deep ball, but I was doing a little research about how the Bears offense was with Mitch Trubisky, and it had its ups and downs. In 2017, they were the 29th point scoring offense in the league, so not great. Never a great passing offense, but in 2018, they were the 9th best scoring offense in the league. I do think this hurts Claypool. Again, Mitch does not have a great deep ball, but I really, really want to see, because if you go back and look through his first 2 years in the league, Mitch Trubisky was statistically a better quarterback than Josh Allen. And he spent the last 2 years with Brian Daboll, and not 2 years, 1 year with Brian Daboll and Josh Allen. And what did he learn? And this is a good offense. And this is a division with Lamar Jackson and with Joe Burrow and rumors. We won't get into rumors. We don't have time for rumors. Rumors of Deshaun Watson to Cleveland, potentially, as a potential suitor. So this is going to be an offense where you're going to have to score points. So I think Deontay Johnson and Freiermuth are fine. I think you'll see a little less check down work for Najee Harris. And I think it's a downgrade. So neutral for Freiermuth and Deontay Johnson. A slight, very slight tick down for Najee Harris. And the biggest loser, Chase Claypool. How do you like that synopsis?
I'm cool with that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if anything happens, honestly. But I think that's how I feel about that offense in general. So I think I'm cool with it. Like, I'm not the biggest Claypool fan. Najee Harris got a stupid workload, so him losing a little bit of it wouldn't shock me. So I will leave you the venom this time. None for here.
It can't be any worse
than Ben. No.
Than what Ben's looked like the last year and a half. I mean, he's shot, and this is a team that's never had a losing record under Mike Tomlin. So a great opportunity to cash out, a great opportunity to use him. Again, some of my leagues, he'll have some big starts this year. I'm telling you, he's going to have week winning upside at a given point. So don't hate it for Mitch. They also picked up a couple of offensive linemen. I tried to include a little bit of that in the news as well. One guy I want to get into, not because they added any weapons for him, but Jerry, is it safe to say that I'm not the world's largest Justin Fields fan?
It is fair to say.
And I think this man is not being treated the way that his peers are currently being treated. So he lost an offensive lineman. The Steelers signed a former Bears offensive lineman and another lineman. So they picked up 2 new offensive linemen to help shore up so that'll be good for Mitch. It'll be good for Najee. Justin Fields so far is missing a large part of his offensive line, and their big free agent splash was a defensive lineman. Jerry, what the hell's going on? Are they trying to get him killed? Do they want this guy to fail? What the hell's going on in Chicago?
Well, I mean, they also went out of their way to sign a long snapper. So at least they did that. They crossed that off the list. Yeah, it's weird. You know, I didn't love Allen Robinson. I was glad the Lions didn't sign him. But that's one less target they have. They have Darnell Mooney and a bunch of scraps in Chicago. It's weird what they're doing. It's a weird move. I don't know. As far as if I were to do the contractor with DWZ Memphis here, and I had to look at their roster, I would think they were rebuilding absolutely atrociously. So I think it's crap. I got nothing, no more wisdom other than I think it's horrible. I think they're not doing him justice. I don't hate the kid as much as you do, as from a dynasty standpoint. I sort of think he's got a little bit of it. He just needs a little bit of help, and they're just not giving it to him at all. In fact, they're taking it away.
Well, hate is the wrong word. I mean, if anything, him failing and the Bears not doing right by him would suit the narrative for me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be right. When I think a player is going to struggle and not meet expectations, my number one goal when I say that is for me to be wrong. But my job for you, the listener, is to get it right. He lost 3/5 of his offensive line. So far, none of them have re-signed. They've not signed any offensive linemen. They lost his wide receiver 1. I don't care what anyone says. Darnell Mooney, not a wide receiver 1. He could be the 1, but you can be paid like the 1. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But you know, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, we'll see what Mooney can do as the man in Chicago. He does have a nice rapport with Justin Fields.
Sure.
But I mean, really, it's Mooney, Cole Kmet, David Montgomery, fine, borderline like RB2, RB1.
You got another year of him.
He's an RB2 cost guy that can give you RB1 weeks and even an RB1 season. But it's those 3 looking around behind a Swiss cheese offensive line, trying to figure out who doesn't wind up on the injured reserve first. Horrible way.
Yeah.
Horrible way to treat a young quarterback. And I know I got the scolding from good friend of the show, Nick Whalen, resident Bears fan here at the DWZ, along with our own Dallas Hyder. And they're like, well, you haven't seen it all play out. I'm like, they have no first-round pick. They're not going to draft anybody. I know they got a first from the Bears, but, second and third round offensive linemen, yeah, you can find a diamond in the rough there. But is that really what you want to put in front of your quarterback that you paid 2 first-round picks for? Don't forget that. You didn't pay 1 first-round pick. You paid 2 first-round picks to get this guy, and I don't know, just not good. And I bring that up because other fellow 2021 rookie quarterback, Mr. Trevor Lawrence, that guy got a little bit of everything. Got arguably the best guard in the league, in free agency this year, Brandon Scherf. Then they also gave Christian Kirk an asinine amount of money, signed Zay Jones, and brought in Evan Ingram on top of Dan Arnold and Laviska Shenault and Marvin Jones. I don't love these weapons, but Jerry, what were your thoughts when you saw that the Jags went all in on giving and they also franchise tag Cam Robinson. Can't forget about that. So all those moves, all those moving parts, give me the dynasty spin. Who's the winners, who's the losers?
Oh, I think it'll still help Trevor Lawrence, just because there are better pieces than he had to work with last year. As much as I would love to continue making fun of the Zay Jones and the Christian Kirk signing and everything else that they have going on, which is absurd. And asinine was a good adjective to describe it, because giving that man that much money was absolutely asinine. But it's still better than what he had. And they're shoring up the offensive line. I don't hate what they're doing. I hate some of the pieces that they've put there. But that's personal preference. I would have liked a lot better guys than that. I don't hate it, though. I think Trevor Lawrence actually got a little bit of a boost. I mean, they signed another offensive lineman, I think. They're going to have an early pick. Maybe they take Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe they really shore up the other side of the line, and they really just sort of solidify that and protect Trevor Lawrence. That would be what I would do if I was them. But I don't hate it. I don't love any of the wide receivers as far as dynasty assets. Somebody is going to emerge and be an annoying 1,000-yard receiver. You're not going to know when they're going to do enough to warrant being in your starting lineup. But I don't love any of them. Like I don't see Christian Kirk coming out here and having a monster year. I don't see Zay Jones coming out and, maybe he increases in value because right now he's worth about a fourth. Maybe you can get a late second for him if he has a couple good weeks. Evan Ingram. I like Evan Ingram. I think it helps him. It's not, it hurts. You would have liked to seen sort of a better situation than the Jags, I think. But with the state of the other pass catchers, what's to say he doesn't emerge as the top guy? I think there is a real possibility that he does end up being the top guy. So I think of all of those guys, I am most likely to have Evan Ingram, but I don't love any of it.
Yeah, I would agree. Evan Ingram is a guy that, you can pull the trigger on late in best balls. Because as it relates to tight ends, you either want to have the guy, the Kelsey, the Kittle, the Waller, the guy, or you just want to go bargain hunting. And I think that Evan Ingram will be part of that bargain hunting stack from a best ball, like a Mike Gesicki, Evan Ingram, Kylan Grayson with the Colts. You got like a middle, a high, and a low. And I can live with that. But, yeah, the rest of these guys, I have no interest. No interest in Christian Kirk at $84 million. Now, he'll never actually see that. That's with bonuses. But,
yeah,
still it's more like 72, and a pile of it's guaranteed. But it's just good to know that the Jags are going all in and giving him weapons, even if they're shitty weapons, and offensive line help. That's what you want, because you know who else did that, Jerry?
Who?
The New York Jets. They also have a soon-to-be sophomore quarterback coming off of his freshman year, and that is Zach Wilson. What'd they do? They went out and signed a guard from the 49ers and Laken Tomlinson. They re-signed Braxton Berrios, brought over TJ Uzoma, and they re-signed Tevin Coleman. But again, same thing. They have Christian Darrisaw. Was that Darrisaw who they picked up last year, or is he the Minnesota? Was that Slater? I don't know. I just know that they drafted a highly ranked rookie last year. They traded up for him. The guy out of USC. They have the dancing bear, Mekhi Becton. Now you bring in Laken Tomlinson. It's like they're putting a good offensive line in front of this guy. They brought him in a tight end. Last year they had Corey Davis. They have Elijah Moore. We're going to talk about my man Michael Carter here in a minute, but this feels like another team going all in around their rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I liked the CJ Uzoma pick. I think you needed something. You needed something there, and I think he was a good guy.
You needed a grown up in the room. You needed you need a grown ass man.
And Braxton Berrios, not a guy that I have on any teams, not a guy that I will probably ever have on any teams. Sneaky good though. So I think he helps them much more than he's going to help, a person win a dynasty championship. But I did like that. And as far as Tevin Coleman is concerned, great news for Michael Carter, right? Like you're always going to have more running backs than just one. This is, 2022, not 2007. And you want somebody that's not that great. And I got news for you about Tevin Coleman. If this was 2014, people would be telling you he's worth the 104. But it ain't 2014 anymore. Maybe it was a little later than that. I don't remember exactly. Michael Carter is going to be the guy, and I think this helps him a ton. I mean, you said you wanted to talk about him. Let's talk about him. Thoughts on you, man?
This is huge. This is a guy that I've been in on anyway. Our rookie specialist, Dallas Hyder, at Salad Galore on Twitter. He was all about Michael Carter last year. Kind of had a start-stop rookie season.
Yep.
But I believe, if memory serves correctly, he led the team in running back touches last year, and that's in spite of injury. And it may have been snaps, but I do know that he was used when he was there. So big opportunity for Michael Carter to seize this backfield and really be a producer, especially in the passing game, which is where I want him to produce. So for me, I love it for Michael Carter. I think it's good for Elijah Moore. If you were a big Elijah Moore fan, I can tell you, how many wide receivers in this class would you rather have than Elijah Moore, knowing what you know now? Now, I know landing spot could change that for some of these soon-to-be rookies, but how many guys are you taking ahead of Elijah Moore?
Not many. Probably two, I think.
I was going to say three. I was going to say three. And really, the three would really come down to landing spot.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to have Garrett Wilson ahead of him. Dude, I keep hearing more and more negatives on Treylon Burks.
I mean, the draft will tell us, though. The draft will tell us what the NFL thinks of him.
Absolutely. I was listening to Marcus Mosier of the Cowboys Network, and he was not too flattering. And then Drake London. So for me, it's like, but that's really about it that I would take even in that vicinity of Eli Moore. So I really like Elijah Moore. Had a couple of monster games as a rookie.
Yes, he did.
CJ Uzoma, it's kind of like,
Yeah, exactly.
Not great, not terrible. His value didn't really change for me. So wasn't great news. The big winner there for me was Zach Wilson and Michael Carter.
I agree.
All right, let's stick with the running backs then. Let's talk about a pair of former teammates. Now, one of the first dynasty and fantasy relevant, that's the word I'll use, relevant bit of information that came out was Chase Edmonds signed a 2-year deal with the Miami Dolphins. Now, this is a spot that a lot of us were wish casting a Kenneth Walker, a Breece Hall to. What are your thoughts on Edmonds in Miami?
I absolutely love it. Not for Chase Edmonds, though. I still think a rookie's going there. Chase Edmonds listen, I was a Chase Edmonds guy. I have a lot of Chase Edmonds because there has been points when he has been very cheap throughout his career. He got signed 2 years, $6 million a year. That's not a ton of money. That's not, I'm going to get a ton of workload money. I'm going to be exactly what I am, and I'm going to get 12 touches. One of them's probably going to be pretty explosive because that's what he's done. I still think a rookie's going there. So I was happy to see it for the same reason when the Jets signed Tevin Coleman. I'm happy for it because of some other reason, not because of that player. Like I'm not going to go out and try and acquire Chase Edmonds. He'll have a role, but I think he's going to be too expensive because of the news. People are going in to think he's going to be the guy. I don't. I think Chase Edmonds is what Chase Edmonds is. If he, sounds like a duck, looks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So that's my thought. Do you like him? I feel like you've not been a Chase Edmonds guy, though.
I'm not a Chase Edmonds guy. I just think there's so much love for him in the analytics community, and that they want him to be a thing so badly that his value will be artificially inflated. And I think that this is the sell window, and I think someone's going to want to buy. So whatever you got him for couldn't be more than what you can get right now in return. So for me,
he probably doesn't creep into the first though, right? But you think you can get like 202 for him?
I mean, in a super flex, probably. I mean, someone wants him. they're a Dolphins fan. They're a Chase Edmonds fan. They just assume that he's got that spot on lockdown. And it's not like Myles Gaskin is gone. He's still there. Salvon Ahmed, although crappy, still there. I think Duke Johnson is gone. But the one thing I will say on the positive side for Chase Edmonds is that they did choose him. He was the number one running back off the board, so that's a positive. I would rather get out with a pick.
Yeah, I mean, I like the guy. I think he can be explosive and can win you weeks from time to time in a flex spot, but I don't think he's going to be the guy. He might for a few weeks. He also gets banged up quite a bit. I think they're still going to go with a rookie and someone like Kenneth Walker, who is not, maybe he can pass catch, at the NFL level. Maybe he can't. But if he can't, I think he's the perfect complement to somebody like Chase Edmonds.
I think there's a lot more landmines in this class for Chase Edmonds than there is for Michael Carter.
Agree.
And it's already kind of a crowded running back room as it is. And I think the injury note's a good one. So, but I will say this, that Miami team was looking for a reason not to give the ball to Myles Gaskin last year. But again, new coaching staff. I have a lot more questions than answers. So, I would love to give like Chase Edmonds and even if I had to give up like a 2022 second for any random 2023 first.
Yeah.
I'll just tuck that first
100%.
in my pocket. I'll just tuck that first in my pocket and I'll just wait it out till next year. I don't think he's a league winner, but who was a league winner last year, Jerry?
Who was that?
His teammate, James Conner. Yeah. What do you have, like 21 touchdowns or something ridiculous?
Stupid.
Unbelievable. 3-year deal. Good for him. Cancer survivor. You know how a lot of these deals are. It's a 2-year deal. No, it's 1 year and we'll see. James Conner, it's like 1.5 years, and if the cap goes up, we'll just eat the dead cap money. But good for him. He got like $14 million guaranteed. But I think this is going to be another landing spot for a rookie.
I agree.
Maybe it's a day 3 guy.
I was just going to say, it doesn't seem like it's going to be an early one, but it's going to be a stashing one. One of those guys that you're happy to just sort of like James Conner was when he was with Pittsburgh. Like you draft him a little later, you hold on to him for a little bit and hope and pray.
You're kind of an injury away from being an injury away.
Yeah.
That's what you're not hoping for, but that's like the best case scenario. I wouldn't mind like a Rashad White staying right there in the desert and heading over to the Cardinals. I know a lot of people would be sad by that because they like James Conner, but this is like insulation. This is your run it back year with James Conner. So if he helped lead you to a fantasy championship, or at least got you in that dynasty, Jerry's got the trophy over his shoulder. If James Conner got you that, he's going to give you at least one more year of that. But if you dallied and you didn't take the opportunity to move James Conner last year, it's a great opportunity to go to a league mate and say, hey, look, I got James Conner. I'd love to move him to you. Well, I mean, I know, but it's a 3-year deal. He's going to be there for 3 years. And maybe. We'll see. But that's the story you have to tell.
It's a pitching point. And I think it's one that has credence to it. I'm with you. I like James Conner. I have a lot of teams with James Conner, but given the opportunity, he's going to score a game with 2 touchdowns in it at some point in the first month. And the moment he does, I'll take a running back that maybe hasn't.
I think you can get a first for Conner right now. I think you can get a first.
Yeah,
you can get a late first.
Yeah,
if you have a contender that maybe lost a running back, or needs some depth, and maybe you move James Conner in season, like in spring, and like summer camp, when a running back goes down for the year. Happens all the time. But I'm getting like old school Spencer Ware vibes here. You finally get your contract, you finally get your opportunity. And you mentioned injury earlier. James Conner, not the healthiest cat around.
No.
So you might have a better opportunity to sell than now. Remember, it's almost rookie season, and cashing these guys out for rookie picks is going to be hard.
Yeah.
The move is to move them in season when that YOLO on picks becomes more of a thing. I'll figure it out. I'll make a trade. James Conner has a couple of couple of good games. So I won't do your Lions this way. DJ Chark, 1-year deal. Thoughts?
Happy. I was happy about it. Give the kid a shot. I didn't want, like I said earlier, didn't want the Lions to sign Allen Robinson. I was glad. I mean, he got a little bit more money than I thought he was going to get, but go out, prove it. Let's see what you can do. I think it's going to be good for Jared Goff as far as the whole picture. Maybe not necessarily for DJ Chark, but you have DJ Chark. They're almost certainly going to draft one, probably pretty early. Plus, you have Amon-Ra. Plus, I mean, they signed, Khalif Raymond and yada, yada, yada. But, as far as cheap quarterbacks are concerned that a lot of the Dynasty community hates and you can acquire for cheap, you could do worse than Jared Goff, I think. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Like, I'm not relying on DJ Chark. Like, I'm not going to go out going crazy for him, but I could easily see him having a pretty good year.
What cracks me up is everybody acts like this is the nail in the coffin of Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
And that's terrible. That's a horrible take.
Correct.
There's an impromptu good people, bad tweets. If you're tweeting that this was bad for Amon-Ra, did you really think they were going to roll into opening day with Khalif Raymond and Josh Reynolds and these guys? Did you really think that was it? Now, I don't think they need to draft 2 wide receivers now. I think they could get away with drafting 1 wide receiver. And I think, that, 32 overall they got from the Rams, as well as the 34 they have. I think that's going to be a very good sweet spot. We've seen guys like T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, names like that come to mind over the last couple of drafts that go on like that the first 5 picks of, round 2 on Friday. So I think that's a great sweet spot for them, especially maybe if they trade back, a team wants to come up and get a quarterback or a particular player. But this was to be expected, and it's a 1-year deal. So I think this is great. I mean, it's not like Detroit's not going to not be behind. They're Detroit. Being behind and bad at football, it's what they do. Although I think Detroit has done, and this is going to shock some people, I think the Detroit Lions are doing a better job with handling their situation from a quarterback perspective better than my Colts. So the Colts have got everything you need except the quarterback, and the Lions are getting everything but the quarterback, but they'll have the ammunition to get them. They'll have plenty of picks next year to go up and make a move on a guy. And Jared Goff, to your point, I was going to pull this up from a QB perspective. Jerry, where do you think he finished last year?
QB, I mean, he missed some games, so probably like QB 24.
QB 25. Averaged more points per game. This is ESPN basic standard scoring.
Okay.
13.6 points a game. That was more than such luminaries as it's a half a point less than Tua. It is about a full point less than Teddy Bridgewater. The same as Ben Roethlisberger. A little bit better than Matt Ryan, better than Mac Jones. So to put it in perspective,
and that was with Khalif Raymond and a bunch of bums.
So I mean, if you're looking for a guy to get you through for a year, like if I was going to say if you lost Tom Brady, you got him back unless you were a sucker and dropped him, then you need to you need to figure that out. But this is why I don't ever go crazy overdrafting QBs, especially if I've got like one of those top 8 to 10. You know how I play the game. Yeah. If I got one of those guys, if I've got
if you don't, you sort of need to go crazy for quarterbacks, but
that's a different conversation. But if you got your Josh Allen, your Justin Herbert, and maybe you have one other guy, maybe you have one of those guys, and you have a Tua. Okay, maybe you're not going to want to play Tua every week. Go pick up a Goff, go pick up a Baker, go pick up a Wentz, go pick up a Daniel Jones, go pick up one of these guys to work into a rotation with these guys and just play matchups. And speaking of Danny Dimes, I feel like the job is his. I feel like he's got this job locked up. The Giants did not get Mitch Trubisky. They got Tyrod Taylor, 2-year deal. It's not a bad backup, though. I mean, like the Giants kind of feel like they can make some noise. Picked up a couple of offensive linemen.
Yep.
So from a dynasty standpoint, not a lot. But if you have Danny Dimes, I mean, we were talking about from a points per game standpoint last year. I mean, Danny Dimes, was the QB 19 on the season, and he missed some games.
Yep.
So, I don't hate it for Danny Dimes. Actually, I take that back. He was a QB 27. I was going by points per game. Danny Dimes averaged more points per game than a lot of players that you would like. So, Daniel Jones, more points per game than Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill, Tua, Jared Goff, Matt Ryan, Mac Jones. I'm telling you, you could do worse than Daniel Jones, and the offensive line's going to get better. Saquon Barkley.
They're going to draft somebody good too with the early picks too. They've got to add some pass catchers.
Rookie from 2 years ago, Daniel Thomas played a lot better. They picked up a couple of more offensive linemen. Love head coach Brian Daboll. I'm not expecting a Josh Allen leap, but I think this is going to be arguably the best year of Daniel Jones's career. And I don't think he's going to be bad. I think the Giants could make a little noise in that division. So there's a couple of random signings. The Miami Dolphins, Cedric Wilson, I think that, and Teddy B, solid backup quarterback in Miami.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think Teddy B is a threat to anybody, even Tua. So that's good news for him. Cedric Wilson, I mean, Devontae Parker
said Williams too, didn't they?
Well, he was already there. So,
was he?
But they franchise tag Gesicki,
which sucks. But
bring in Cedric. Still have Devontae Parker, have Jalen Waddle, brought in Edmonds. I mean, and then there was rumors of some offensive linemen. So all in all, again, another team. Hello, Chicago. Another team doing right by their young quarterback, giving him every opportunity to succeed. And that's not only for young quarterbacks. Sometimes it's for old quarterbacks. Chris Godwin going to be slow coming back from a knee injury. So what Tampa Bay do for Tom Brady? They got him a professional wide receiver, got him Russell Gage, a guy that could be like a nice. It's going to sound odd to say he's a bridge wide receiver, but he's a guy who can be instrumental in the offense. Pick up a first down here or there. Never really fantasy or dynasty relevant, but kind of keeps the seat warm until Godwin's ready with the ACL.
I think all of that's fair. I mean, you know who I want to talk about though, Randy? Because
who's that?
J.D. McKissic signing in Buffalo. Not so much for Buffalo. I still think that's a cluster F, but for Antonio Gibson, we were sort of, I'm not the biggest Antonio Gibson guy. I think he costs a little bit too much, but I was worried about J.D. McKissic going in there. Do you think there's a chance they draft one, or do you think they're just going to ride that out?
I don't know. Let's cover McKissic. That's really the last story. I'm not going to cover you. I'm not going to cover useless tight end signings. The Colts gave Mo Alley Cox 3 years, and the Seahawks gave Will Dissly 3 years. It was like, hey, look at this horrible Ian Thomas deal in Carolina, and the Colts and the Seahawks are like, hold our beer.
Gotcha.
We'll show you horrible blocking tight end deals, but so we won't cover that. But J.D. McKissic, I'll start with Buffalo. Love this for Devin Singletary.
Yeah,
it tells me that Buffalo has no interest in Zach Moss. They have no interest in rookies or other like free agent type players. So Devin Singletary going to be the man there one more year. I think McKissic will have a little role here or there.
Of course.
But for me, this is wheels up on Antonio Gibson.
I agree. And I think that's for the first time in his career, I'm actually probably going to kick the tires a little bit. It might be a little too late for me.
But now it's they did lose Brandon Scherf. Again, he's going to be in Jacksonville, but that's a guard, not super hard to replace. They do have the 11th overall pick. And I was stunned by this, but I was looking at PFF offensive line rankings, and the Colts offensive line, you often hear how good it is. It was ranked significantly lower than the Washington football team. So for me, Carson Wentz is not the world's biggest check down guy, but go look at Miles Sanders with Carson Wentz as a rookie, and go look at Miles Sanders with Carson Wentz in year 2 before Wentz got benched / Sanders got hurt. And then look at, this year. Now, was he Phil Rivers-esque for JT and Nyheim Hines? No. But was he bad for the running back passing game? No. I think I think you're finally going to get the opportunity, if everybody stays healthy, to see the full power of this Scott Turner offense. And I'm excited for Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuel can never stay healthy.
No.
Logan Thomas should be back. But I think the biggest winner in this, I think the low-key big winner is Antonio Gibson. A lot of people, including myself, are excited for Terry. But give me Antonio Gibson. It'll be hard to get.
And I think Carson Wentz helps because he's going to be a better quarterback, and you're going to have to look to Terry more often and not just focus on the backfield. So I'm with you. I have wheels up on Antonio Gibson.
Well, Jerry, I wish I had more for these people. If they want more, you want more Dynasty WarZone, you want more podcasts, you want exclusives like the one I did last week with Rich Dotson of the Dynasty Nerds that's still over at patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone, then go to patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. Jerry, our patrons are keeping me abreast of all of the latest action. I no longer have to scroll Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter's Twitter.
No, you don't.
We're talking value. We're talking trades. We're talking what-if scenarios. We're talking Deshaun Watson. And I still think it's the best value. I know everybody can price their Patreon for what they want. We've kept ours the same for, I guess, going into 2 years now. So a lot going on. I think it's a great value over at patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. We'll be rolling into rookie season. There'll be rookie draft season. Then it will be like startup season 2.0 season. And we'll be able to help people with all that, Jer.
True. Big time sort of rumor mill spinning here in Cleveland. So apparently Baker Mayfield just tweeted 25 minutes ago a 2-page thank you to the city of Cleveland. So we may, we don't want to talk too much speculation, but when it comes from the horse's mouth, we may have a little bit of moving and shaking with Mr. Mayfield.
Jerry, are you breaking news?
I am. And what's funny about that, Randy? For the perfect segue, you know where I got that information?
Reddit.
Patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone chat room. Because
Patreon.com I actually saw that in the chat as well. So you're not breaking news. Our patrons over at patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone.
If I damn well please, Randy.
Cold as ice, Jerry. You are a cold-blooded son of a bitch. Want to make sure I throw in a quick plug for my boy Matt over at Hate Brand Goods. You should check him out on Instagram and YouTube. He is currently doing a thing with Indian Motorcycles where he drove from Charlotte, North Carolina, all the way to the Florida Keys, to the southernmost tip of the United States. And really interesting. So it's not all of life is football, Jerry.
True. That's true.
And if you go over to Hate Brand Goods, that's the HVIII.com. Use promo code Memphis. You will save some dollaroos. So there you go, Jerry. I wish we had more. I'm really sorry.
It's not our fault. The NFL's boring.
I mean, when I invited Sheps on, I was like, all right, Jerry's busy. I want to get some of this out of the way because in my heart, I was like, we're going to get pounded with information on Monday and Tuesday, and there just won't be time. And I really want to make sure that the Dynasty WarZone does a recap of the Aaron Rodgers and the Tom Brady and the Russell Wilson. And I wanted to make sure that we covered all those, not knowing that the highlight, the marquee name moving in free agency was some combination of Chase Edmonds, Mitch Trubisky, and Christian Kirk. What in the blue hell has fantasy? I mean, free agency come to?
I mean, the Mitch Trubisky was a little exciting.
Hey, I was excited.
I've got some stashes, so that is exciting. But if you are a hater of Mitchell Trubisky, this free agency did absolutely nothing for you. You're just waiting for the draft.
In all my leagues where I did really, really, really well, it seems like I have Mitch Trubisky. And that's great. Whether I want to flip him for a pick, whether I want to make a trade to a team. And the one thing about Mitch Trubisky, every team has a Steelers fan. I'm sorry, not every team. Every league has a Steelers fan, it seems like. It's just one of the marquee franchises in the NFL. Sometimes it's the Bears, sometimes it's the Packers, the Steelers, the Patriots. Very, very, I mean, I guess every league could have one, Like every league has a Packers fan. I just feel that in my bones, right?
That's true.
Every league has a Bears fan, a Cowboys fan. The odds of every league having a staunch supporter of the Jacksonville Jaguars is slim.
It's few and far between.
Few and far between. And Jerry, by the way, before I get out of here and we get out of here, you know where it's rumored that Baker Mayfield could wind up?
Where is he going? To the
Allegedly Indianapolis.
Oh boy, God!
That's karma.
That would be karma.
That's what's called karma. Kick the dog crap out. But you know what? Maybe it works out in my favor.
Yeah.
I love Carson Wentz before he was a Colt. I thought it would be great. I thought he'd come in. I thought he'd be huge, and nothing. So I've never liked Baker, not been a big fan of Baker, although I do feel that we've turned too much on Baker as a community in fantasy. And so probably worth a cheap, kicking around. If you told me in June I could have Baker Mayfield or Kenny Pickett or Baker Mayfield or Carson Strong, I'll take Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield or Sam Howell, I'll take Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
So anyway, Jerry, that's what I got, man. I wish I had something else.
Hey, I mean, we did what we could, and I think we did damn good at it.
Well, so what we're going to do is we were going to do March Madness with these guys. So what we'll do is we'll actually do this in reverse. And on Sunday or whenever we record next, we'll rank the best moves all across the entire NFL offseason. So that's going to give us the week before free agency, the week of free agency, and then the week after free agency. And we'll see what we come up with.
I mean, we still got some names, so I think we got a shot at having a little more next time.
You know what? We might be able to talk to Deshaun Watson, Juju,
True.
Jarvis Landry, Leonard Fournette, anybody. Hello.
Yes.
Something exciting.
Kirk, please.
NFL, please don't make Christian Kirk lead our podcast next week. Give us Deshaun Watson.
Just
give
rude.
us even if it means for the people of the Dynasty WarZone, even if it means Baker to the Colts and I got to come on here and cry next week, give us something. All right, Jerry, we've filibustered enough. There you go. There's a word for you, history major. We've filibustered enough. We're going to get out of here. That man's name is Jerry Sinclair. Follow him at JerrySinDWZ. Follow me at DWZ Memphis. Follow the show everywhere at Dynasty WarZone. It'd be really awesome of you to leave a rating and review anywhere. Check out our sponsors, patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone, Hate Brand Goods. And we'll catch you back here next time. But on behalf of Jerry, I am Memphis. And remember, we're just trying to make the world a better place for fantasy football. We'll see you back here real soon. Make sure to tune in Thursday. Fantasy Football Smackdown Friday Rookie Rundown with Dallas and or Kyle, or both. See you later, guys. Bye.